Chapter 2. Day 2. The storm had passed, but it hadn't gone quietly. A low mist clung to the ground, thick and pale, curling through the wreckage of the outpost's perimeter. Pools of rainwater shimmered on the metal plating, reflecting the dull gray of the morning sky. The world smelled of ozone and scorched dust, a chemical tang that lingered on the tongue. Captain Reeve walked the perimeter with slow, measured steps, boots splashing in shallow puddles. The air was cold enough to sting through his armor's seals. The wind had died, leaving only the hum of distant generator and the soft hiss of mist against metal. Outpost Epsilon had taken a beating. One of the east side turrets was bent halfway out of its mount. A supply drone lay on its side near the gate, legs twitching intermittently. Nothing catastrophic, but enough to show how fragile the place really was. He stopped beside the damaged turret. The frame was twisted, the plating torn inwards, like something had gripped it. Lennox's voice came from behind him. "Storm did that?" Reeve turned. Lennox stood there, coffee in one hand, rifle slung over his shoulder. His tone was casual, but his eyes weren't. "Wind shear, maybe," Reeve said. "Wind doesn't leave claw marks," Lennox replied, nodding to the metal. He wasn't wrong. Up close, the scoring was deep. 3 lines gouged clean through reinforced plating, each one almost the width of a man's finger. Reeve didn't answer. He just stared at them for a moment longer, then turned toward the horizon. The fog was thick enough to blur the ridgeline. Too quiet again. "Let's get Mara," he said. "I want her to see this." Inside the command module, the air was warmer but no less tense. The power grid flickered, the lights humming with each voltage shift. Mara stood over the holomap, scanning through seismic readouts. "Morning," Lennox said as he entered. "Or whatever passes for it here." She didn't look up. Tremors are still there. Fainter, but deeper. "Brilliant," Lennox muttered. "So whatever's under us is hitting the snooze button." Reeve came in behind him, rain still dripping from his armor. "We've got new damage outside. East turret's been torn open." Mara frowned. "Wind? Not unless it learned how to use claws." That made her pause. She grabbed her tablet and followed him out. The 3 of them stood by the turret as the mist began to thin. Mara crouched, running a gloved hand along the marks. The metal edges were curled inward, force from the outside. "Could be flying debris," she offered. "Storm pressure can do strange things." Lennox raised an eyebrow. "Debris that came in triplets and had good aim?" Mara sighed quietly. "Fine. Not debris." Reeve said nothing. He was staring out toward the ridgeline again, eyes narrowing. Something about the way the fog hung there, too still, like it was listening. "Double patrols," he said finally. 2 teams rotating every 3 hours. If anything moves out there, I want eyes on it." "Yes, sir," Mara replied. Lennox gave a mock salute. "Lovely. A scenic stroll through the post-apocalyptic wasteland." Reeve shot him a look. "Take it seriously, Corporal." "Always do, sir. Sarcasm's just how I process impending doom." By midday, the mist had burned off. The landscape looked worse under the light. Cracked black rock stretching to the horizon, steam rising from fissures in the ground. The air shimmered faintly with heat. Patrol 1 reported nothing unusual, just silence and dust. Patrol 2 never checked in. Mara was the first to notice. "We've lost comms with Bravo team," she said, tapping her earpiece. Last ping was near Sector Delta, 3 clicks northeast. Reeve didn't hesitate. Get a rover ready. Lennox grimaced. You're not thinking of going out there yourself, are you? I don't ask people to walk into something I won't, Reeve said, pulling his helmet on. You're with me. Of course I am, Lennox muttered. Wouldn't want to miss the fun. Mara followed them to the rover, her expression tight. Keep an open channel. I'll track your signal. Copy that, Reeve said. The rover's engine rumbled to life, kicking up dust as it rolled out through the east gate and onto the open plain. The drive was short, but tense. The ground was uneven, pitted with cracks and sinkholes. The storm had carved strange channels through the rock, like veins running toward the horizon. Still nothing on comms? Lennox asked. Nothing, Reeve said. They were supposed to check in 20 minutes ago. Maybe their radio's fried. Maybe. The rover crested a ridge. What lay beyond froze them both for a moment. The patrol's vehicle was there, half buried in dust and rock. The windshield was shattered, the metal pitted and scored. The doors hung open. No movement. No bodies. Reeve killed the engine. The silence that followed was deafening. Bravo team, this is Captain Reeve, he said into his comm. Respond. Only static answered. They stepped out, rifles raised, boots crunching on grit. The wind had died again. The whole valley felt like it was holding its breath. Lennox moved to the rear of the rover, scanning the ground. Tracks, he said quietly. But not theirs. Reeve joined him. The prints were deep, 6 indentations per stride, evenly spaced, ending abruptly near the wreck. Something heavy had moved here. Something big. Reeve's gut tightened. Back in the rover. Now. They turned, just as a low vibration rolled through the ground. The surface trembled, fine dust leaping from the rocks. Seismic spike, Lennox said. Tell me that's the planet settling again. Before Reeve could answer, a sound broke the silence. A sharp, metallic click, 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 faint, then louder, moving beneath them. The ground heaved. Reeve shoved Lennox back toward the rover as the earth split open a few meters away, throwing rock and dust into the air. Something massive shifted beneath. A glimpse of movement, glistening and black, vanishing just as fast. The tremor faded. The ground closed like it had never moved. Both men stood frozen, breathing hard. Still think it's debris? Lennox said quietly. Reeve didn't reply. He climbed into the rover, slammed the throttle, and tore back toward the outpost, dust streaming behind them. By the time they reached the gates, the sun was already dipping behind the ridges. The air had turned copper again, and the long shadows stretched like claws across the valley floor. Mara was waiting. What happened? Reeve's face was grim behind the visor. Something's moving under the surface, big, fast. It took Bravo team. Mara's jaw tightened. Took? There were no bodies. Lennox threw his rifle onto the table inside the command room. 1 minute the ground's solid, the next it's breathing. I'm not saying aliens, but... Reeve cut him off. We don't speculate. We prepare. Seal all gates. Lock down perimeter. No one outside after dark. Mara nodded, already keying in commands. If they're burrowers, we'll need seismic sensors around the perimeter. I can reroute the drone network. Do it, Reeve said. The rest of the squad gathered silently as the outpost shutters sealed with a heavy clang. The lights dimmed to red alert. The hum of the generators grew louder, a nervous heartbeat in the dark. Lennox glanced out through the viewport. The horizon was gone, swallowed by shadow. 10 days, he said under his breath. Then we can get of this rock. Reeve stood beside him, staring into the dark where the ground had moved. Then we'd better make sure nothing go wrong for the next 9. Outside, something shifted beneath the surface, a slow, deliberate scrape of claw against stone. The siege had begun. There is always a story to be told out here in the frontier, as long as there is someone to listen, like, and subscribe, and join us again for more.